Hey guys, my name is Tarun, and I'm pleased to be hosting the first episode of Telecom Talk Show. This is basically a podcast. We are just experimenting it, and today we have Tanay Singh Thakur, who is the chief editor of Telecom Talk. And today we'll be discussing basically around the broadband tariff hike. That there is so many news going around it, and like you must have already noticed that there has been a hike on the prepaid segment. So, so Tanay, how are things at your end?
Yeah, things are fine, Tarun. What about you?
Yeah, things are good. So, Tanay, let's start with what's your take on the broadband tariff hike? Like, are there going to be any tariff hike in coming days? There are a lot of news going around it. Like, what's your take around it? Like,
Uh, Tarun, so first of all, pleased to be a part of the first ever episode of Telecom Talk Show. About your question, so yeah, prepaid tariff hikes just got implemented to the tune of up to 25% on most of the popular plans. But this should not necessarily mean that the operators are eager about increasing broadband tariffs as well. Jio, BSNL, and Airtel are heavily invested in the fiber broadband business, while Vodafone Idea is still working around it with U Broadband and trying to create an impact. The thing is, a certain PTI report citing Meghbala's broadband co-founder said that broadband tariffs are broadband tariff hikes are also necessary. So this is just a comment or a wish at the moment. The thing is, if the telecom operators don't go with increasing broadband tariffs soon, the small internet service providers cannot do anything on their own. Small internet companies need to protect their market share. So as low as it may be, it is their lifeline. Moving against the big players would be a death wish, and that is certainly something that is not going to happen.
well, that's so true, Tanay. But do you think like at this current scenario, do we even need a broadband tariff hike? What do you think? Like.
So, talking about the requirement of a broadband tariff hike, personally, I cannot comment on whether it is required absolutely or not. But I can say that for prepaid tariffs, the telcos absolutely needed it. There was a desperation in the market for increasing the ARPU, which is average revenue per user. And for that, a tariff hike was absolutely needed. Broadband tariffs in India feel like they are already at the place where people would not want them to move up anymore. Yes, there's a question of whether the small ISPs are getting burnt because of the additional benefits that the big operators are bundling with their broadband plans. But again, it doesn't necessarily mean that the broadband industry is struggling as a whole, and there might not be a need for broadband tariff hikes. So there are OTT benefits offered to the customers without any additional cost, and that is putting a cost pressure on the internet companies, but that doesn't equate to a need for a tariff hike. However, if there is a 20% broadband tariff hike anywhere in the near future, just like the prepaid tariff hikes, it would mean that the users going for the bestseller plans offering 100 Mbps to 200 Mbps speed from the major companies would have to pay an additional rupees 150 to rupees 200. And this is excluding the tax. So it would definitely make it very expensive for a majority of the nation. Prepaid tariff hikes are still justifiable because of the sort of condition the telecom sector was in and the kind of investments for both 4G and 5G network coming up. But yeah, broadband tariff hikes at the moment are just not necessary.
Okay, thank you, Tanay, for your very insightful comment around the broadband tariff hike thing. On a personal note, I just want to ask you one thing. Like recently, there has been hike around the prepaid segment also, right?
Mhm.
What's the kind of feedback you are getting from end users? Like are they pretty happy with it, or do you think like they are they are not so happy? What's on a personal note? What do you see like?
So, Tarun, I've seen sort of a mixed emotion in the market. There are people who back the tariff hikes, and then there are people who are against it. This is not just a question about people, consumers paying more, but this is also a question about the condition the telecom sector was in. So the operators need to make very huge investments for delivering end-to-end service in every part of the country, and it is just not possible with the amount of money they were earning right now. India is one of the biggest nations when it comes to data consumption, probably the number one. but the telecom operators weren't earning that much for providing their services. And if the consumers want quality services going forward, operators need to make huge investments, and that would require a lot more money. So ARPU needs to go up, and that is the only way. Tariff hikes is the only way that could have happened. I won't be surprised if the operators go for another round of tariff hikes in the next 1.5 or 2 years time frame. But yeah, so on a personal note, this tariff hike was justified, and it came at the right time, saving Vodafone Idea, which was in a desperate need for it.
Okay, Tanay. Thanks so much. Although it's our pilot episode, we'll be coming up with more similar things in coming days. Do share your feedback. Do share it with Tanay, or do reach out to us over the email also. Tanay, thanks so much. Let's end this here. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, Tarun. Okay. So thank you for calling me up in the first episode.
Okay, Tanay.
Take care, guys. See you soon.